Mm. Hello everyone, and welcome to day one of our 7 days of self-love. I'm so excited. I literally just jumped off a TikTok live doing some cards, and it was a really powerful energy. A lot of cards that came through were people who clearly had amazing things that they were creating and wanting to change in their lives, but the biggest message was a call back to that solid foundation that it's so powerful for us all to create within ourselves in order to change the outer reality. So a little quick insert for those of you who are new to this group, new to this space, who maybe don't know me that well. You can obviously creep all the things, but I have been coaching for many years now in many different modalities, but the biggest thing that I find so transformative is our mind and what we are capable of doing and being and creating in the world with our thoughts, when we can actually change our mind and reprogram those pathways and change and rewire those beliefs that we've literally just learnt from others. Morning, Christine. We've literally learnt our beliefs and our behaviors and the things that we do and the way that we live our life. We've learnt this. It's not how we popped out of the womb. We didn't pop out being like, okay, like this is just how I am. Like I don't, do these kind of things, and I don't do this. Like we learnt these behaviors, and maybe that's okay. But if you're wanting better experience in life, if we're wanting more money, more love, better health, whatever that is for you, apply it to your situation. You have the ability to create it, because our outer reality is shaped by our inner reality. Our personality, the way that we think, the way that we feel, and the way that we behave is literally what creates our personal reality. It's so incredible when people get this, and when they start to create this action in their life and see the outcomes. You realize you are a superhero. You realize you can create change in your life, and that no one else can take that from you. So that's what I love to get across here. So I sat with what 7 things I was going to share for this challenge, and I just allowed kind of the messages to come through, and we are going to be starting with something really simple, and it's a beautiful practice. It's a combination of practices actually that were actually brought to me by my parents many years ago. So I have been through many years of life challenge and struggle and all the things you want to call it. And this is something that I think every time I get on the phone to my parents, they remind me of. And it's so simple that it's silly, but it's something that I wanted to share, and you can use it and apply it in your life because it's so easy and it's free. And whether you want to, hold your hands on your heart or just sit in meditation, it's a mantra that I love to use in meditation myself. And that is 4 lines. And it's actually a Hawaiian tradition, so you can look into that if you would like to see the background of it. But it's, I'm sorry, I forgive you, thank you, I love you. I'm sorry, I forgive you, thank you, I love you. So whether you are in the midst of a crazy day and something really bad happens and you just go, I'm sorry, I forgive you, thank you, I love you. Takes 2 seconds. Whether you get up first thing in the morning and you go straight to the bathroom and you look in the mirror and you look in your own eyes, gaze into your own eyes. How often do you do that and say, I'm sorry, I forgive you, thank you, I love you? Whether you're sitting in meditation and your mind's just going 10 million different directions, which is meditation, by the way, and you bring it back as your anchor to, I'm sorry, I forgive you, thank you, I love you. And really start to feel those words. Like, I've said those words through crazy, ugly crying. I've said them through laughter. I've said them through so many states. And it's a beautiful way to just anchor into that space, because all of this comes back to all of the things that we've layered on top of our soul from things that we've learned from other people that aren't serving us. So I'm sorry. I forgive you. Thank you. I love you. It's so epic. The other thing I was going to pair with that is, so had to narrow down just 7 things. So I'm trying to keep it like quick and fun so that you can apply them into your day. But I also have like a million different tools that I probably use day to day and change them up throughout my life. But in the interest of keeping this simple, the only other thing I wanted to share for day 1, for this first kickstart to your new level of self-love that you're going to create, which is going to change the whole world around you. It's going to teach people how you want to be loved. It's going to attract better people into your life. It's going to cause maybe people who are treating you like crap to fall away because they know that you won't take it anymore. Many different impacts. What ritual do you have for yourself every single day? First moment of the day, before anyone else comes into play. If you don't have one, if the first thing that you do when you wake up in the morning is not completely for you, and when I say completely for you, like let's really go into that, like picking up your phone and going onto social media as soon as you open your eyes is not completely for you. That's actually the opposite. That's putting everyone else in the world's needs and possible opinions and reactions and good news and bad news before you decide what you want to think and feel and be and do today. So stop putting your phone first is a key. But when you first wake up in the morning, what is the first thing you're doing for you? If this means you have to get up an hour earlier before the kids wake up, an hour earlier before your partner wakes up, an hour earlier before, you have to just get up and go to work, then do that. The only difference between someone who has the time for a morning ritual and you potentially saying you don't have the time is that they've created the time, because we all have the same amount of time. All excuses are equal at the end of the day. That's really hard to hear, but it's a fact. How can you create 10 extra minutes, 20 extra minutes, an hour preferably, first thing in the morning? From when you open your eyes, you get up and you're like, okay, I'm going to go and say that thing in the mirror that Kat told me to say. I'm going to meditate. I'm going to eat something really healthy for breakfast and really fuel my body for the day. I'm going to drink, half a liter of water the first moment I get up. There are so many things, guys, that you could put into that space where you really just go, this is me. Hi, me. Love ya. I'm sorry. I forgive you. Thank you. I love you. How do we want to feel today? What would we like our personality to be in the world today so that we create a better personal reality? How can we set intentions? Like having this conversation and this connection with yourself every single day before anyone else comes into play. How can you do that? Because I can almost guarantee that most people in the world are not doing that. And it's hard. It's hard. The distractions are endless and the distractions are very convincing. However, when you can do the push through past the distraction, when you can do the uncomfortable thing, when you can lean in to a little bit of a challenge and do something for you, which is the best news. It's not like you're like leaning in and having to like go to the gym and like do an hour of weights. Like you can, but it's just getting up and doing something nice for yourself that could literally change the trajectory of your whole life experience and the things that you do and the things that you experience and the people that you attract and the money that you make and all of it. I cannot explain to you guys how powerful this is, that you have the ability and the power every single moment to create the world around you. But maybe you're not even giving yourself a moment of time to decide what you want that to be. So let's all take a moment. You can close down your eyes if you want, or you can look in the mirror and just say, I'm sorry. I forgive you. Thank you. I love you. And I hereby commit to myself, I'm going to create some time for myself every single morning to decide who I want to be, to decide what I want to experience and how I want to feel. And I'm going to do that. now on, even and especially when it's uncomfortable. So I'm going to send you all off into this beautiful day of love, February 14th. I hope that you give love to yourself and fill your cup so that you can share from the overflow, because that's the only way that it's really going to be beneficial to everyone around you. And I will be doing these lives every morning. They won't necessarily be at the same time this week because I've got a few different calls with clients in other parts of the world. Time zones are my nemesis, but I'm working it out. So the recordings of these will be up if you do not catch the lives, but you'll be able to catch up on each different day and different theme. And I would love to see you guys be brave and share your takeaways in this group, to share things that you're challenged with, share things that you love, share things that are working or maybe not working, so that we can all help each other. Because when we also give, and this is super powerful and it's what I'm going to leave you with, we of course need to give to ourselves. That's step one. That's the most important priority for you. But then when we can find one way each day to contribute, one way each day to hold out a hand and pull someone else up, one moment each day to do one little thing that could inspire someone else to do one little thing for themselves and maybe pass it on. And when you contribute, it's the law of equivalent exchange. Like, we've got the law of attraction, that's a whole one thing, but there's all the other laws of the universe, guys. And when you give something out to the world, to energy, to the universe, it comes back around to you. Maybe not necessarily from the particular person or situation that you're giving to, so release the outcome to that, but it comes back to you. How epic is that? So give to you, fill your cup, and then share something from the overflow today without any attachment to getting something back from it. That's where it begins. I'm excited to hear what you guys are doing for your rituals, and I will see you all on tomorrow's class. Happy Valentine's Day, happy Love Day to you all. I'll catch you soon. Hello everyone. So it's day 2, and today, before I start, I will just say, if you are catching day 2 but you haven't watched day 1, definitely jump across to the day 1 recording. It will be in the discussion feed, because especially there's a lot of new people in this space. If you would like to start with day 1 and you haven't yet, I definitely recommend starting there. It'll get a bit of a preface as to what we're going to be moving through. But today, we started day 1 with some beautiful, simple self-love practices and how to create a beautiful morning routine for yourself, to put yourself first. And today I wanted to get straight into the head of things, where all the things that stop us. So it's all well and good to create beautiful, lovely practices for ourselves and rituals and ways to show ourselves that we love ourselves, but our brain is going to constantly, and I mean constantly, try to convince us and show us all the reasons why we shouldn't put ourselves first. It's going to find all the things that are wrong, all of the cracks in the story. And as annoying as it is, we gotta love the brain, because it is just trying to keep us safe. It's trying to keep us safe. Our brain doesn't know the difference between, us worrying about whether we can get toilet paper at the shops and a saber-toothed tiger chasing us in the woods. I just want you to hear that for a second. The brain sees those two situations as the same level of danger because of the amount of energy we give to that worry in this day and age. It's the same as when we spend a lot of time on our device, or when we're just worrying about needless things. Our brain just sees us worrying and stressing, and it goes, oh my God, we're in danger. And so it starts activating cortisol, the stress hormone, and it starts, running you in overdrive, which stresses not only your mind, but your immune system, your nervous system, your digestive system, your hormones, and it throws everything out of balance, and then we get sick, then we get disease, then we get injured. So that's one reason we want to look into this, because as awesome as that is in a way, that our brain has the ability to keep us safe, because it doesn't know the difference, we need to retrain our brain. We need to retrain our brain so it knows that us having a little bit of a worry moment or throwing a little pity party about something that's not really that dangerous is not a need for it to activate cortisol. It's not a need for it to go into overdrive to try and save us. It's not a need for it to try and find all of the problems and all the things that could go wrong. We all know what I'm talking about, right? So nervous system support is something that is so needed and so powerful, because even before the last few years, everyone's nervous systems were stressed out anyway, exhausted. This is why we have so much chronic illness in the world. This is why we have so much depression and mental challenges and mental health issues in the world, because everyone is under so much stress, constantly, all the time. So our nervous systems are wrecked. And then you add in the events of 2020 and moving on from it, and no one's had a moment to recover. Most of us are not giving ourselves daily nervous system nourishment, and therefore we're just constantly in a state of fight or flight and survival and stress. And at some stage, your incredible body that works so hard every day to keep you feeling good and keep you alive is going to get tired. And I don't want you guys to get to that point. Before I go into just a few ideas around nervous system support, and I could give you a million, but I've picked one in particular for today's lesson, is an analogy called the feather, the brick, and the truck. So in everything in life, we're constantly being given signs or lessons or nudges from whatever you want to call it, God, the universe, Buddha, Allah, whatever is your preference. And first they start off as feather lessons, little nudges, little whispers to like, hey, maybe you should take better care of yourself. Hey, maybe you should put yourself first. Hey, maybe you shouldn't eat McDonald's. Hey, maybe you know, little nudges, right? And then when we don't do those things continuously over and over and over again, we get a brick to the head. And a brick to the head could be losing a job. It could be someone getting sick or you getting sick. It could be so many things. And if you continue to ignore it, if you continue to sit in worry, if you continue to sit in just waiting for someone else to fix it or rescue you, you're eventually going to get hit by a truck. And I will leave what that looks like to you, but I don't ever want anyone to get there. And so having your daily rituals, your morning rituals, your daily practice, which was part of lesson 1, is great. But how can we hone that even deeper and go, cool, how can I make sure that something in that practice is doing something for my nervous system? So I mentioned meditation yesterday, which is something that is free to all of us, and it's going to completely transform your life. But if it's tricky for you to go straight into meditation, then you probably should do that, because that's the point. Meditation is like taking your mind to the gym. It's gonna suck for a while, and then eventually you get stronger and stronger and stronger at it, and you love going, and then you're like lifting and you're like doing the things. With meditation, you're like dropping straight in, and you just feel consciousness like freaking wash over you, and you're like, oh my God. You start having stuff come through and ideas and different solutions and answers to things. It's rad, and I would love everyone to experience that. But if that is a little bit out of reach right now, something else that's free that we all have access to at any given point of the day is our breath. So you'll probably see breath work being thrown around a lot, and loving how much it's being picked up and ran with in all parts of the world, because we all breathe every moment of the day. That's another cool thing about our brain and our body. We don't have to tell it to breathe every 2 seconds. It's just happening on a subconscious level. But when we can actually consciously use our breath just to slow things down a little bit, we're helping to rewire those messages to the brain. we're just doing something different to change that wiring. You're also going to be soothing your nervous system, releasing pressure off your immune system so that it can do its job, releasing pressure off your digestive and your reproductive system, which is usually the thing that the body gives up on when it's under stress, which is where we have all the reproductive health issues come from, and all the gut and colon issues that come from everything these days. It's all stress. But when the body is too stressed to do all the things, it's got to kind of chuck some things out the door, because it's got to keep your heart beating, it's got to keep your lungs working, it's got to keep your brain working, it's got to keep your blood pumping. So it's going to be like, well, we don't really need to digest things that quick. We don't need to have a menstrual cycle, because we're definitely not going to be able to carry another human in this vessel right now because it's been so stressed out. That's how the brain thinks. It's pretty basic. It's just like, cool, don't need that, don't need that, don't need that. Do need to keep the heart pumping. We're going to focus on all our energy on that right now. And then you get fatigue, and then you get pain. You see where I'm going with this? Your nervous system and your health needs to be at the forefront of every single day. Even if you feel kind of alright right now, maybe there's people around you. And every time we choose to put ourselves and our health first, even if it's with something as simple as doing some simple breathing exercises or meditation, you're making a difference in your own body, which is going to shine through. So when it comes to breath, I'm going to lead us through a very simple box breath today. You can jump online and look at all the different types of breath that there are. There are so many. I also have a free breathwork masterclass that I can send you if you would like that. But my favorite personally has just been simple yogic breath, or good old Wim Hof. And if you haven't gotten into Wim Hof, definitely recommend that you be resourceful and do research and go and look up all the incredible ways that there are in the world to soothe your nervous system for free. You don't have to pay tons of money for this, guys. So today, anyone who is with me, we're just going to take a long, slow, and you might have to control it because it's not going to feel natural if you've been in shallow breath, but just a long, slow breath all the way through the nose, down the back of the throat, and allow it to go all the way down into the belly and expand through the belly, expand through the ribs, and then expand through the chest. That's the breath in. And a long, slow breath out. So you really have to start to elongate and control the in and the out breath. So in. Let it fill the whole body up. Puff the belly out. And then out. Very slowly. So you feel it coming all the way up and out through your nose. The tongue is pressed to the roof of the mouth. The mouth is closed. I'm going to do two more like that. Inhale. Filling up the belly, expanding through the ribs, opening through the chest, dropping the shoulders down, and exhale. Go for as long as you can with the exhale. One more inhale. One long exhale. Alright, so we're going to do 3 rounds of box breath. And this is just one example of the many different types of breath that there are. So you can get really fun with it if you want to jump online and do your own research, or check out Wim Hof for sure. Or you can message me and ask me for my faves. But a box breath is essentially just a way of just kind of resetting your breath. So if you find like you've just been like go, 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 you've been scrolling on your phone for an hour and you haven't really been breathing, whatever the situation, you can do this anywhere. You could be standing at a bus stop, you could be in the bathrooms at work, wherever. You know, you could be in mid-argument with a partner. Stop. Take a breath in for 4. In, 2, 3, 4. Hold the breath. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. 4, hold at the bottom of the breath, 2, 3, 4, 2 more rounds, in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, this time in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 2, 3, 4, and hold at the bottom of the breath, 2, 3, 4, take a long, slow, deep breath in. A long, full breath out. It's one example. One moment in time. One thing you can do for your body, for your mind, for your nervous system. If you do something like that every single day, even just like 3 rounds like that, you're going to be making a massive difference in your health. Both mental, physical, emotional. And the thing with the world today, aside from our brain kind of almost working against us because of the way it's been programmed, we're also all programmed to this instant gratification, this click and collect world, as I call it, where we're used to being able to click for an answer, click for a supplement, swipe for a date, click for our dinner to be dropped to our door. And that's all well and good, but that's not going to lead you to depth of relationships. It's not going to drop $1 million into your bank account. It's not going to reverse cancer if you get it, because that's where it leads. It's how we get sick, is when we don't. We allow the stress to build and build and build in our body, whatever that stress is, whether it's physical, whether it's emotional. That's how we get to sickness and disease. That's how we get to depression. That's how we get to anxiety and panic. That's how we get to breakdowns, is by not ever doing anything for ourselves on a consistent basis and then getting to the breaking point and being like, oh, now I need to fix it. Now I've got no money. Now my health's destroyed. Now I've lost my relationship. Now maybe I should do something about it. Whereas if we just make little adjustments and changes and efforts in the day-to-day, you'll never actually get to those levels of breakdown. And better yet, you'll actually start to create more of the good things in your life, because you'll become a magnet for better things. You'll also be focusing on better things day to day, which activates your reticular activating system in your brain, which is what is like what we focus on grows. So the more that you actually are focusing on giving yourself love, giving yourself nervous system support, giving yourself health support, giving yourself financial support, whatever that looks like, whether it's educating yourself more on money or educating yourself more on relationships. Like, all of this is in the coaching that I do, in the masterclasses that I run, is about creating that solid foundation in you a little bit every single day. So not only do you not hit the massive dips in life, but you literally rise into the highs and stay there for so much longer. And if challenges come along, which they always will, you're not rattled by them, because you're so solid in your foundation. And it's the best feeling in the world that you can all cultivate, each and every one of you. So I hope you found this helpful. This was day 2, and we've got 5 more days to go. Oh my God. But make sure you share any wins, share anything you love in the comments. Let each other know that you're here, because we're all on this journey together. And any of you who are wanting to go deeper into this, The Lovely Radical Academy is now open. There's a couple of spots in there available if you'd like to have specific private coaching with me, where we actually go deep into that reprogramming and go deep into actually turning over all the behaviors that aren't serving you. And if you'd like a little insight into what that is, just either send me a private message or pop a comment here, or you can message me on Instagram as well, and I'll set you up with the free masterclass for foundation building, and we can go from there. I hope you've all enjoyed this. I hope you're all having a beautiful day, and go and take some breaths today and make it part of your ritual, or go and find something that you enjoy that releases and relaxes your nervous system. All the information is out there, guys. In the age of information, ignorance is now a choice. So take responsibility and go out there and create those little daily routines that are going to serve you in so many more ways than one. See you guys tomorrow. Day 3, everyone. Welcome, especially to our beautiful new members. Now, if you are new to the space and you don't really know who I am, make sure you backtrack to day 1. It is in the newsfeed because there's a little intro there, and also it's good for you to do day 1 and 2 before you get into day 3. So, a little preface on, I guess, what I'm sharing in this challenge as well. A few of you have asked, like, where does this information come from? Where did you learn this? Or how did you create the challenge? And honestly, like, I literally just created 7 days with a word for a theme of each day, and then how I coach and how I teach and is more intuitive. It's more just I let the words flow through me. I don't usually set up a plan or pull from specific resources, because I've spent the last decade learning from a million resources. So that's, I guess, a little bit of an insight into how this challenge has been created. It kind of hasn't been, except for over the many years of stuff that's in my brain. So that's where we're kind of coming from at the moment. But today, I really wanted to get into a tool that I love so much, and I'll explain why, and then a behavior that we all have that maybe we could shift and pivot a little bit so that we can start to experience better in our external world. So the behavior is our self-talk. Now, those of you who know me know that I am NLP trained, and I'm getting into more of my master's in NLP and hypnosis. And what NLP is our neuro-linguistic programming. I don't know if you guys can hear that really noisy plane over the head. Our neuro-linguistic programming is the words that run through our mind, the stories that we tell ourselves, about others, about life, that we've learned along the way. You know, I always make the joke, like, we didn't pop out of our mum being like, I just don't think I can do this, or I don't believe in myself, or I don't think I'm good enough. Like, we didn't have that verbiage, right? We've learnt that verbiage along the way. We've learnt words like trying and struggling and want and can't along the way. And the crazy thing is a lot of this verbiage is really limited. It's limiting us because we're affirming to ourselves, either in our mind or worse, out loud to others, this story about ourselves and about our lives and about our situation that's limiting us. And then it's getting reverberated back to us by others when we're constantly telling this negative story, this limiting story, or this victim story, right? So that's a lot of the work that I do with people, is we really start to shift the words. We shift the story, because that then starts to reprogram our subconscious mind so that we start to actually lean into the better feeling thoughts more often than the bad. And that creates a new personal reality, which is a scientific thing, but it's also an energetic woo-woo thing, which is so cool. Those of you who also have followed for a while know that I'm obsessed with the woo-woo, but I love when it's proven by science, proven by studies. So we bring those two worlds together, which is so beautiful. And so something I really love in that arena is the practice of EFT, which is emotional freedom technique. It is essentially, I won't get into the specifics of it, but it's essentially the tapping of our certain meridian points on our body, which are energy centers in our body. And they're kind of connected through our nervous system and just help to really stabilize our energy, ground our energy, and kind of just bring us into a solid focus point. And EFT can just be done by tapping the certain points, and I'll run through the practice with you so you can apply it at home. But it can also be said with words, with affirmations, with story, if you will. And so today, for an example, what should we use as an example? I was going to use love, but because it's just been love day, but I'm going to use money as an example. So how often do we say, I can't afford it, or I don't have enough money, right? Because, hey, we could all have more money, and money would mean less stress. Money would be a beautiful tool for us to expand on all the things that we love, right? So the words, I don't have enough money, or I can't afford it. If you find that you keep saying that particular line in your head, and you can apply this practice to any lines or stories that you feel may be limiting you, and if you aren't sure, guys, make sure you reach out for a chat, because I know when I first started this practice years ago, I had no idea how toxic some of the stories were that I had learned that I was now telling myself and telling the world, and creating that limit in my life. But if we do this practice with, I can't afford it. So first we take the sentence and we go, okay, that is a story I've decided to tell, and perhaps we've learned it from here or here or here. What we would do is we would take that and we would turn it into a feeling. I feel like I can't afford it. And then we're going to do some tapping. So I probably should tie my hair up for this, but so we've got tons of meridian points, so many. And if you want to kind of self-study and dive into EFT, there's so much beautiful information online. Or you can reach out to me for a chat. We can always book a session where we can do that together privately on a specific circumstance you have. It's one of the many ways that I coach. But we are going to start by tapping just in the middle of the forehead here and saying, even though I feel like I can't afford it, tapping just outside the eye, even though I feel like I can't afford it, tapping just under the eye, cheekbones, even though I feel like I can't afford it, on top of the lip, even though I feel like I can't afford it, on the chin, even though I feel like I can't afford it, collarbone, even though I feel like I can't afford it, under the arm, even though I feel like I can't afford it. Oh, I love that one. Feels really good. Top of the head, even though I feel like I can't afford it. And it sounds really silly, right? So that is how we begin. And so even before we begin, we're going to just start with a focal point, and it's on the side of the hand, so you can do whatever hand feels necessary for you right now, feels natural. So I tap with my right on my left, and just on the outside of the edge of the hand there, I'm just going to go, even though I feel like I can't afford it, you go. I choose to love and accept myself. You go. Even though I feel like I can't afford it, I choose to love and honor myself. Even though I feel like I can't afford it, even though I feel like I never have enough money, even though I feel like there's never going to be enough money, and even though I feel like I just can't afford it, I choose to deeply and completely love, honor, and accept myself. So that's our starter. And then what you can do, and you can create your own script. You can come to me, we can create a script together. You can create scripts online, but you can apply this to anything. And anytime you're thrown by some kind of limiting story, you just start tapping. Even though I can't afford it. Even though I'm so stressed about not having enough money. Even though I'm scared I'm never going to have enough money. Even though I'm worried that I'm not going to make my bills. All the stressful stories come out. Even though I'm scared I'm not going to be able to support my kids. Even though I'm scared I'm not going to be able to support my health. Even though I'm worried I'm never going to be able to afford the things I need. Even though I'm so worried about money. I choose to deeply and completely love and accept myself. And I choose to remove the stress from my body. Because even though I'm worried about money, I can choose a new story now. And even though there's so much stress that I have around money, even though it's a constant undercurrent in my mind, and even though I'm so worried I can't afford it, I'm choosing to clear that worry now. I'm choosing to clear all worries that I have about money. I'm choosing to clear it all the way back through my past. I'm choosing to forgive anyone who taught me this limiting belief about money. And I'm choosing to forgive myself for creating this limit on myself. I'm choosing to release any fear I have around money. I'm choosing to clear any stress I have around not having money. I'm choosing to clear it all throughout every cell of my being. In body, mind, and spirit. Take a deep breath in. Long breath out. And that's an example of EFT. So you can start to see how whatever, like I did not script that. That literally was just me connecting to when I was in a state of complete money fear, which I'm not anymore. Like I tell you guys, when you can start to work on your money mindset, like I'm not a millionaire or anything, but like I just got a speeding fine yesterday. I opened it, I looked at it and I was like, I was speeding. Not much. But I looked at it and there was no anxiety, there was no stress. And if you guys need to work on that and you want to work on that, and oh my God, when you do, it will open up so much, because that is such a major stress for people in life, is money stress. Make sure you guys drop a comment or message me privately to get the free masterclass I did around this. I think it will be very powerful for you to get a kickstart, because I want you guys to feel that. I want you guys to feel that stability in yourself, that when you get a fine, that when your partner is leaving you or all over the place themselves, you're not rattled. That when someone gets sick in your family, you can freaking show up, both physically or emotionally or both. That you have that solid foundation so you don't get hit by life so hard. And that is what self-love is all about. That is what self-care is all about at its core. It's been really fluffed up in the self-development world, and that's great that it's being brought to the forefront, but it can kind of be too fluffed up that people don't actually do anything about it. And it really just comes back to that. It comes back to creating a solid foundation in the areas where you get most stressed. And for most people, from what I've seen in the work I do, that is health, that is money, that is relationships, and why we're here, our identity, who we are, what our purpose is, what we're doing. Like those 4 things are our pillars, and when we can get solid across those, like, oh my God, guys, it feels so good. And I want everyone to be able to feel that. So check in with your stories, check in with the words that you're saying to yourself. If you guys would like resources on this to expand on this particular topic, make sure you drop a comment or reach out. We've officially launched the LRA, the Lovely Radical Academy, which has actually been happening in the background, but I've finally given it the official name, which is really exciting. So if you guys are interested in working closer with me or one-on-one with me, you can jump over into my DMs and we can have a chat about the options of joining the Academy. But aside from that, if you guys would like the masterclass, make sure you drop a comment or private message me. And also, those of you who are wanting to expand on the money side of things and creating more money and working on your money mindset. Those of you who know me will know this, but those who don't know that 4 years ago, I was able to leave my 9 to 5 because I started a beautiful side hustle in holistic health, which I created an income in that, helping people with their health. That meant I could leave my job and focus more on my passions and learning and healing, which I love to be able to help others do. So I provide free mentorship in that space and a free business blueprint and a world-class business training system for anyone who wants to create their own side hustle and their own extra income. And right now you can actually get all of that for only $55 just this week. So that's just the franchise fee that goes to the partner company. So everything that I give for that actually comes for free this week. So if that would be of value to you, or if you're not into holistic health but you still want to learn about ways to make some extra money and work on your money mindset, then make sure you send me a message, because there's a few other ideas that I have for you as well that I can share. But yeah, aside from that, there are so many solutions, guys. This is the message that I want you always to hear through anything that I share, is that there is a solution for any given problem in the world. Hear that. And in the age of information, ignorance is a choice. So reach out, connect, ask questions, ask them to me, ask them to Google, ask them to people, because the solutions are out there and you don't have to suffer or struggle anymore. Okay? Big love to you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Hey everyone, I can't believe we're on day 4. Day 4 self-love. I am really excited for this one, because this one is something that I practice every single day, and it's so simple. So preface, anyone who's kind of catching this, if you're new to the group and you haven't watched day 1, 2 or 3 yet, I recommend that you do that first. The way that I've structured it is kind of just to, I guess, ease you into it. But day 4, we're basically going to be talking about meditation, but also expanding on meditation with a little bit of a journaling practice that I love called future scribing. So I was never too keen on journaling. I never really kind of understood it until recent years. When I started implementing it into my practice, and very much so in the last year. And since doing so, a lot has shifted. And I think it has because of the future scribing aspect that I have used. So I've already talked a little bit about brain dumping, I'm pretty sure. I have to double check. Those of you who have watched the previous classes know that none of this is planned. It's literally just I'm allowing it to channel through me with a set theme. But if I haven't touched on brain dumping, essentially brain dumping is just kind of, you know, first thing in the morning, just writing down all of the negativity, getting pen to paper and just letting it flow out of you, just letting all of the negative thoughts, all the things that could go wrong, just letting it come out and onto a page. And then with brain dumping, I'll usually rip it up or burn it, and just some kind of action to be like, cool, I've gotten that yuckiness out of my body onto a page, and now I'm deciding that I'm not connected with it anymore. So brain dumping is really powerful, especially if you're in a really negative, stuck state where you're constantly, like, first thing in the morning you're waking up and you're faced with those horrible thoughts of everything that's wrong. That can be a really powerful journaling practice. But expanding from that to get more into the positive would be to future scribe. And so future scribing is something that I do every single day as part of my practice, and it takes me only a couple of minutes, but basically I'll just describe a day in my life in time. So in time when certain things have been achieved, in time where I'm, you know, sitting in a certain home or place or with a certain person, and I'm describing that day as if it's happening now, and I'm describing it down to like every sense that I have and what I'm experiencing. So what I can see, what I can feel, what I can smell, what I can taste, what I can touch. I'm describing it, and I just describe different moments every single day at different times of my life that I'm going to experience. I know this at this point because all the things that I've written in the past in future scribing have come to pass, and so on, because what I'm doing in that moment, even just writing it and describing it and getting into the imagination of it, is I'm feeling it on an emotional level. And when we feel something on an emotional level, we start to feel it on a cellular energetic level. And whatever we cultivate energetically within us is what we see with our reticular activating system more of, but it's also what we attract energetically to us. So whether you're into the woo-woo or into the science, both come together for this beautiful union, because when you can experience the emotion of the event before it is materially manifested, you will call it to you. You will light the pathways in life to get there. It is law. It has to happen. But most of us are, thinking of what we want, maybe getting into the feeling of it, but then allowing the brain to throw up all of the obstacles, all the why nots, all the reasons why it won't work out, and so on. And then we give all of our attention and our energy to that, and so we create more of that. So future scribing is beautiful to do every day because it keeps you more in that energy of what if it all works out? What if I could have all of these things? And feeling the experience and feeling it and tapping into that, because that lights then the pathway in your life and in your mind to get there, to say yes to the opportunities that might lead there, to say, just to be more open with your heart, with your mind, with your energy, to the things that are going to lead you there or to teach you the lessons to get there, and so on. So that's future scribing. And then of course, I always personally follow future scribing with a meditation / visualization. So sometimes in meditation, because I've been doing it for so long, I will just kind of drop in, allow whatever needs to come up and pass through, and then just kind of sit in a space of stillness. But sometimes I will tap into more of a visualization. I'll allow myself to go to one of those visions or one of those moments in time. Or sometimes I'll automatically go there without my mind having to actually create it and daydream it. I'll literally be transported there by, I don't know what you would call it, but sometimes I'll just be suddenly like, whoop! I'll drop into meditation and I'll be like, oh wow, I'm in a Bali villa and there's a man standing next to me holding a margarita, and he's like, touching the back of my neck and smiling at me and saying something lovely, and I'm working on my book, or whatever it is. Because I've future scribed so much, I've started to really design an energetic future that I'm heading towards. Like, I have a future scribe in general that I do, and then sometimes I'll chuck random other little days in there to mix it up. But I mean, the vision of my future is so clear that I can feel it, smell it, taste it, touch it at any given moment, and so it's quite easy for me to be transported there. And then I'm literally seeing pathways to all of those things constantly, because I know that if I'm not experiencing that outcome yet in my physical reality, it's because I'm not yet in alignment with it. I haven't done the work to get there. I haven't learned the things I need to know to create that or make that happen. But I will, because I'm constantly focusing on that vision, on that end goal, and really feeling it and getting excited about it, or being excited about it, being in that as if it's already done, already created. And so then when opportunities get presented, or situations or experiences come across my path, I'm like, yeah, cool, let's do it, let's go for it. Because I know that it's all leading to that outcome. Does that make sense? So let me know if that doesn't make sense in the comments, guys. But it's a beautiful practice to incorporate with whatever else you do, because it keeps you daily in that energy of what you want to create. And not just the what, but the feeling of it, the emotional experience of it. Like, does your heart flutter? Does your stomach feel a little bit like, woo? And when you're having this moment in time, like, can you, whether it's, if you're struggling with fertility and you want to have a baby, can you see yourself birthing that child and being held by your partner and catching your mother's eyes as she watches you give birth? Like, I've had that moment in my imagination. There's so many different things that you could future scribe to describe, like, like back in school when we'd do like descriptive writing, or was it called that? Descriptive writing or imaginary writing? I don't know, I can't remember. It's been many, many, many years since school. But to get back into that childlike fantasy kind of energy about what you're going to create. And obviously, as we all hopefully know by now, the law of attraction is not just like, okay, I want this thing. I'm just going to sit here and wait now for the universe to bring it to me. You have to become. You have to become and embody the things that you want to attract. You have to learn the things, you have to do the things, you have to lean into new opportunities and become a different version of yourself to experience a different version of life that you haven't before. So I hope you find this tool as powerful as I have and as I do constantly. It is a game changer. It is sometimes hard to stick to though. So if you need accountability around that, then obviously create accountability. Whenever you need something, you can't just wait for it to happen. You've got to create it. You've got to ask for help. You've got to reach out. You've got to connect. You've got to find the solutions. So obviously that's what I do. And you can have a look at the free mastermind that I have on offer if you would like to dive in a little bit deeper into what I help people with, or obviously if you are interested in one of the spots in the Lovely Radical Academy, then you can reach out. We can have a chat about that as well. So if you want information on either the free mastermind or Lovely Radical Academy, you can drop a little love heart in the comments here, or I would love at least in the comments for you to share what you got out of this, if it was helpful, or just what you're loving about the self-love challenge so far. Peace and love to you all today. I will be back tomorrow for day 5. And until then, hope you love yourself a little bit more. And I'm excited to hear your descriptive, exciting, emotionally connected visions of your future. See you guys. Happy day 5, guys. Can't believe we're at day 5. This is so exciting. How's the hair this morning? I literally woke up like this and I was like, wow, look at these curls that mum gave me. They don't always do this, but I'm working with it this morning. I also haven't had any water, so don't mind me if I maybe don't spend too long on this one, because I just jumped off an hour of lives on TikTok and now I'm doing this and then I'm off onto calls. So today, okay, so if you're new here and if you haven't watched the previous 4 days, make sure you just scroll back through the feed and watch day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. You'll get to know a bit more about me if you don't already know me. And I know there's a lot of beautiful new people in this space. So, oh, someone's joining my Zoom room. That's really weird. Anyway, welcome to my life. So today, my first question is, do you know your primary love languages? If you haven't done the love language test, drop a comment in this live and I will send you the link, because that's going to be the first step. If you don't know your primary love languages, this might not make sense, but I'm going to try and make it make sense anyway. But drop a comment in the chat if you need it. Maybe drop a heart in the chat, so I'll send you the link to do your love language test. The question is, so love languages are great to know, to learn more about how to communicate with ourselves, to communicate with our partners, to communicate with our team and our clients even. It's just a beautiful thing to know about ourselves and about each other. However, my question is, since we're focusing on self-love, do you love yourself with your love languages or with the love languages? So for those of you who aren't familiar, love languages are physical touch, it's my primary, words of affirmation, my secondary, a little bit more about me. Then there is gifts, so giving and receiving of gifts. There is acts of service, so whether that's, doing the laundry for your partner or, doing a chore for them that they would otherwise have to do, so to relieve that stress from them. And then quality time, obviously just spending time together, it doesn't matter what you're doing. So those are the primary 5: touch, words, gifts, acts of service, and quality time. Now, obviously once you find out what your primary love languages are, that's awesome. You can communicate those with anyone around you that you need to. It's a great way to describe yourself when you're meeting new people. And it can also just open them up if they haven't learnt their love languages. It's one of the many tests that we can do to learn more about ourselves, whether it's in astrology or human design or the personality test or the love languages. There's so many, and it's so awesome to start revealing more and more about yourself. So you know how to support yourself, but you can also communicate better to others how you like to be treated or supported and so on. But we can obviously hope and expect and want others outside of us to treat us a certain way in love, right? We would hope that, you know, our partner or our friendships know that we like hugs if we do, or know that we like beautiful words to be spoken and positive words, or who know that we like gifts, or know that we like quality time, or know that we like people to like do chores for us by surprise because that makes us feel good. Whatever the love language is, we would want and hope and pray that the loved people in our lives do these things for us, right? However, and I say it all the time, we cannot expect anyone outside of us for it to be different for us to feel happy. If we place our need for something outside of us to be a certain way for us to feel happy, we relinquish all control over our happiness. And happiness is a choice. Happiness is a decision within ourselves. It's not from anywhere else, guys. It's really not. Fleeting maybe, when someone does something nice for you, like, oh, that makes me really good, but then if they don't continue to do it, or if you don't keep getting it from outside, you're not happy anymore. Like, you create your own happiness. Don't wait to be happy and wait for other people, other things to happen for you to feel happy. You create your own happiness. So one of the ways you can do that is to love yourself with your love languages. So I'm going to give some examples. Let's start with physical touch. Look, there are many ways that you can physically touch yourself. Get your minds out of the gutter, or don't. It's very important to have a beautiful intimacy practice with yourself, and on this, with yourself without pornography, with yourself without your partner, with yourself without anyone else. What does your intimate relationship with yourself look like? Is it beautiful? Can you get off? Can you have an amazing moment with yourself? Like when you look at yourself in the mirror, are you just like, oh, hi, this is amazing, like without anyone else? You know, you can massage yourself, you can, you know, just do things that require physical touch. Havening is a beautiful practice. If you haven't looked up havening, it's amazing. It's one of my favorites. How can you love yourself with the love language physical touch? You can ask that of yourself today. Next is words of affirmation, which is one of my primaries. And I think honestly it's something that we all need to think about is, yeah, we want other people to say nice things to us and affirm their love for us, but how are we speaking to ourselves? Just let that land. How are you speaking to yourself? If the way that you spoke to yourself was a direct reflection of how other people speak to you and how other people speak to themselves and how other people speak around you or about you, which it is, because you attract who and what you are, could it maybe be why you're attracting people who don't speak to you well? How are you speaking to yourself? Do you get up in the morning and look in the mirror and go, hey you, I love you. You look beautiful. I just love how you look. I love how your eyes look. I love how your hair looks. I love that shirt you've got on. I love, love, love you. Oh my God. And like, even when you have moments where you screw up sometimes, you're like, hey, we did that. That happened. But hey, I love you. It's all good. Like, we're gonna learn from that. We're gonna like, are you speaking to yourself in an incredible way, or are you speaking to yourself in a destructive way? Are you creating or are you destroying? Are you loving or are you hating with your words to yourself? And then your words about yourself to others. We always like to talk about who we are and what we stand for and what we're about, and this is just how I am. But the more you affirm negative stuff about yourself, I'm fat, I'm ugly, I'm not enough, you know, I didn't do enough here, you're affirming to others how little you feel about yourself, how little you speak about yourself, and you're just showing them how you expect others to speak to you and of you. Speak better to yourself. It's like we say, if you think about the words that you would say to yourself, and then you think about saying them to your best friend or to your partner, would you? No, because they're horrible. Hopefully you wouldn't. Gifts, pretty obvious. Do you buy yourself gifts? Or do you wait and hope that other people will? Do you buy yourself flowers on Valentine's Day instead of waiting for someone else to, or every day of the week? I pick myself flowers every single day when I walk down to the beach. Like, I'm not even a gifts girl, but I'm just like, I like this. This is pretty. And maybe one day, and it's happened. Like, I've literally manifested a man who sends me pictures of frangipanies, or picks me flowers like little frangipanies, which is the exact ones that I pick on the beach every day or on the way to the beach. Like, do you give yourself gifts that you would hope to receive from others? Do you buy yourself chocolate? Do you, whatever it is, like I'm just thinking of chocolate and flowers, but you know what I mean. Do you buy yourself gift vouchers to go to things? Like, buy yourself gifts. Don't wait for someone else to. And what that does is it's going to show other people that you like giving yourself gifts. So they know, oh, she likes receiving gifts. She also likes giving them. So they know what to do with you. Acts of service, pretty standard. Like, if you would hope that other people would do chores for you and do things for you, like, do you do your own? Do you take care of your life? Do you do your life admin? Do you schedule it so you don't have to get stressed about it? Big one. Like, do you know, okay, I've got to do something about my tires, or I've got to get my registration, or I've got to go and do the groceries. I've got to do, like, but you're like leaving it to the last minute, or you're not doing it and you're stressing about it. Maybe start to create some structure around acts of service for yourself, so you're not beating yourself up or stressing yourself out and then hoping someone's just going to come and save you. And then quality time. Do you and can you spend quality time with yourself? I'm going to say that again. Do you and can you spend quality time with only yourself? Or does being by yourself for long periods of time make you uncomfortable? Do you have to have a phone? Do you have to have the laptop or Netflix on? Do you have to have music playing even? Can you be alone in silence? Out in the middle of nowhere maybe? Or just in your house in silence? Like, can you really spend that quality time with yourself without the need for anything else to come in and distract you from your own thoughts, your own behaviors, and your own desires to do all these other things? You just be there and hang out with yourself. Because otherwise you're constantly going to be wanting someone else or something else to fill that space and be that distraction for you from whatever it is that you can't just sit with by yourself. Biggie. So, I would love to know in the comments of this live, or in the page, if you want to, you feel free to post a picture of yourself in this group and tell us how you're doing, tell us why you're here, tell us what you want to achieve. But I would love to hear what your primary love languages are. Again, if you don't know what they are, drop a love heart in the chat. I will send you a link to the quiz. Then you can do that and let us know. And let's make this interactive, guys. Aside from that, I'm excited for day 6 tomorrow. Make sure you share in the comments what you got out of this. Make sure that you only support each other and love each other in this space. And aside from that, I am excited to share that there's only a few spots left in the Lovely Radical Academy right now. So if you are wanting to go further and deeper into this and do more one-on-one work with me, there are a couple of spots left with that right now. That does shift and change as people come in and out. But the current pricing for Lovely Radical Academy is going to be changing within the next month. After I do my next level of NLP training and hypnosis, those prices are going to increase. So if you want to work with me at the lower prices, then make sure you let me know so you can, I'll pop a link in this so you can jump over and check it out and how it stands now. You can have a chat with me. There's options for payment plans and that type of thing. But yeah, there's only about I've got 3 spots left in Lovely Radical Academy right now at that current pricing before it increases next month after my next level training. So yeah, now's the time. I mean, investing in yourself is going to change your life so much anyway. The more you invest in yourself, the more the universe and the world around you starts to invest in you and send you new opportunities and new experiences. That's how it works. But most people aren't even investing, $1 a day in themselves to be a little bit healthier or whatever it is. So yeah, definitely let me know if you want to check that out. Let us know your love languages and how you're loving yourself with your love languages today. And if you haven't done the love language test, drop a love heart in the chat. I will send a link to you for you to do that, and then let us know how you go. Love to you all. I hope you treat yourself well today, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Hey everyone, it's day 6. I'm really excited for this one today, and before I get started, I will just say that this challenge today comes with a little bit of, let's just call it an alignment assignment, because I want you guys to actually take a little bit of action in this space, because it's awesome to learn new tools and new strategies for creating anything in life, but if you don't implement, you don't get any outcomes, or you're very unlikely to get the outcomes that I really want you guys to experience. So I'm going to challenge you guys to share a photo of what the list that you create today that I'm going to explain in a second, and let me know one thing on that list that you're maybe a little bit challenged or surprised by. So aside from that, there's only a couple of spots left within the Lovely Radical Academy if you are wanting to work closer with me at the current investment options that there are. Make sure that you drop a heart in the comments so I can send you some info and we can have a chat and see if it's for you, or you can jump across to the website. I'll pop the link up above, because after in a couple of weeks time, my prices will be going up. Investment costs will be going up, because I will be finishing up my next level of education. So if you want to gain that access to me as it stands, then I highly recommend to jump over and grab one of those spots, because you're going to get all the value of my higher education at the current investment if you grab one of them. So the list. This is an activity that I get. Anyone who's done the free masterclass that I did in January will know this activity, or anyone who's in Lovely Radical Academy already will know it too. We know it well, and we're constantly adding to and adjusting and using the list, because the list is, okay, first let's take a moment. I want you guys to think about whether you are with a partner already or you're wanting to attract a partner. I want you to think about all of the things that you would love that person to be for you, with you, around you, to you in your life. All the traits, all the attributes, all the behaviors. I want you to start thinking about all those things that you would love to experience in regards to love from another. Do you want them to be kind? Do you want them to speak to you with respect? Do you want them to be loyal to you? Do you want them to send you good morning text? Do you want them to cook you breakfast? Do you want them to love you with your love language? Do you want them to be honest? Do you want them to, you start to get where I'm going with this, right? So I challenge you guys to sit down and start creating your list. So your list is going to start with whatever just flows right out of you. Like, put pen to paper and just start writing down all the things that you want to experience from your existing partner or from the partner that you want to call in, okay? We're not going to think about anyone else in our life. We're going to use the romantic, intimate partner as an example here, because A, that's what most people obviously want to call in, or they want to experience better from an existing relationship, or mainly because it's the most intimate kind of connection that we can have, right? And a lot of the times we expect so much from another, and there's more to this. I'm trying not to allude to the second part of this activity. So I want you guys to take a couple of minutes now, pause the video. If you're on live, we're gonna just chill for a couple of seconds, to start writing down your list. And you might write this list, it might take you a bit of time, and I want you, when you've written your lists, guys, to share your lists, take a photo, share it in the thread, share it in the group, because I'd love to see that for your accountability, to see that you've actually done the activity, because this, guys, is one of the most powerful activities that you could do to start creating a new version of your life, because what it's going to do is it's going to help create a roadmap to create a new version of yourself, which creates a new version of your life, because you attract and allow the experiences in your life and the people in your life because of who you are. Okay? So hopefully by now you have started writing a list if you're watching live, or if you're watching the replay, pop pause on now and just allow yourself to write as much that comes out, all the things that you want from another, all the things you want to experience, all the things you want them to give to you, all the things you want them to be for you and around you and with you and to you. I want you to write all of those things down. And then part 2 of this exercise, where it gets a little bit spicy. So we want someone else to be all those things, right? We want someone else to be loyal. We want them to be honest. We want them to be respectful. We want them to be loving. We want them to be, there's my drink water reminder. We want them to be all these things, right? But are we being all those things for ourselves? Are we embodying and expressing those behaviors as well? If we want if we want a partner who communicates with us, are we having real, honest, deep communication with ourselves first? If we want someone who is only speaking to us and not to other people, are we doing that? Are we only speaking to them and not other people? If we want, if we're talking about the dating world, if we want someone who is working on themselves and not out there seeking attention from others, are we being that? Are we maybe not going on apps and not going out to the bars every weekend and actually spending that time on ourselves and trusting that actually brings us into alignment with our partner, or are we not? Because you're going to attract who and what you are. These are just examples. Like if we want an existing partner to, what's an example? If we want an existing partner to, maybe do more things. Maybe our love language is acts of service. We want them to take the rubbish out more often, or we want them to go to the post office and do the things or pick things up more often, whatever it is that you're frustrated with, maybe in an existing relationship. Are you doing these things for yourself? Are you willing to do it for yourself before you'd expect it of another? Does that make sense, guys? Are you willing to embody and resonate that behavior in yourself, in your own energy, in your own vibration, before wanting and expecting another person to do it for you? Ooh. Yeah, I know. Look, it sucks. However, it can suck. It can be really exciting because it's like, dude, I actually have the ability to attract better and to show the people in my life, or the people who will come into my life, the kind of love I expect to deserve, the kind of standards I expect, the kind of behavior I expect. And that almost works as like a fast-paced roadmap to attracting a better life, because shitty people might step into your life and be like, whoa, high standards, treats herself really well or himself really well. I'm not good enough for that, because it will reflect to them the work that they're not doing. So they will leave, or they will get triggered, or whatever happens. But the people who are in that same alignment, the people who are emanating those values and living on that vibration and really doing that work, are going to come into your life, and they're going to stay. And you guys are going to have this beautiful extra thing together. Whether it's romantic or friendship or colleagues or anything, it actually works for the whole thing. But for the purpose of this activity being really laser focused to love, to real, intimate, deep love, what are all the things you hope to experience and expect from others in regards to how they love you? And then really looking at each of those things and seeing, okay, this is now a roadmap to how I change the world around me, by looking at one of these things every single day and going, how can I be that for myself today? If you want someone who's going to have the difficult conversations so that you get things out in the open, so that they don't build and build and build until there's a big blow up argument and then it all falls apart and you hate each other and then maybe you come back together and then it all happens again. If you want someone who's going to have the hard conversations, if you want someone who's going to communicate when it's hard, if you want someone who's going to respect you and be loyal to you, and all of these things that we want from another, how can you start really, really digging deep and being those for yourself now? No matter what circumstance or situation you're currently in, whether you're single or you're attached, whether you're wanting to change your friendship circle, whether you're wanting to change the situations you're in at work, whatever it is, make the list and then start to implement the list. And my work for you guys today, my alignment assignment for you guys today if you really, really want to start to step into that alignment, if you really want it, make the decision, create the list, keep adding to the list. And I would love you guys to share an image of your lists. You don't have to tell us anything about it if you don't want, but just show me that you've done the list. I've got many. I will share mine, but show me that you've done the list. Do that for yourself and hold yourself accountable. And if you need help finding ways to maybe dig deeper into some of these things on the list, maybe there's one thing that you're like, whoa, how do I do that within myself? I don't really know how to start to do that within myself. Share it. Let me know privately. You can let me know when you share the image of your list, and I'll help along the way. I'm really excited for you guys to do this activity. It's a game changer. Aside from that, I'm going to leave you with that. I'm going to go off grid for the day, but I hope this was helpful, and I can't wait to see the pictures of your lists in this group. So I'll see you guys on day 7 tomorrow. And I encourage each and every one of you to get outside without technology today as well. And maybe create your list. And then come back on technology and post it here. Love you guys. See you soon. Day 7. Here we go. I hope you guys have enjoyed this 7-day challenge. It's been beautiful to allow it to flow through, and I hope that you've gained some new tools and some new things to play with along the journey of creating that self-love within yourself. And today I really wanted to dive in a little bit deeper into what you're creating within yourself. And I like to say that whatever we're wanting to create, experience, achieve in our life, we can do it. You would not have had the thought if you were not able to create it. You would not have a problem that you cannot find a solution to. We're always being guided. We're always being set up for success, even when we feel like we're being hammered with challenges. And in order to be able to clearly move through those processes and challenges and things that life throws at you, to achieve things, to overcome things, to transcend, to create massive levels of abundance and love and joy, you got to get your ducks in a row. It's my favorite saying. I don't know why it's come through recently, but it's just the current favorite thing to say. You've got to get your ducks in a row. And what that means is you cannot share from an empty cup. You cannot even share from a half full cup or a 3/4 full cup. You can only really be of value in your life and to others from an overflowing cup. And what that means is that in order for you to have this vibration that is attracting solutions, that's attracting good people, that's attracting good behavior and allowing better things in your life, you have to have filled your cup. You have to have really laid a solid foundation within you, a solid foundation of love, of identity, of understanding, so that you can then be of greater value in your life. I'm going to completely flip what most of you have probably been taught, that you're supposed to show up for your family and your friends and your partner and your kids. If you're not showing up for yourself first, if you are not creating that solid foundation in yourself first, if you are not overflowing your cup first, you are doing all of them a disservice. All of them. What does getting your ducks in a row look like? Or what can it look like? You can take all of this with a grain of salt, guys, but this is what has worked for me, and this is what seems to work for most of the people who come to me, and also for all of the people that I have learned from and who have created incredible things in their lives. Now, building a foundation, I believe, has 4 major pillars. And those of you who were on the January Mastermind will have learned a lot about the 3 of them that I really focused on there. If you guys would like a copy of that Mastermind recording, drop a little heart in the comments and I will send that to you. I'd love to get your feedback and your learns from that. But I break it down into 4 pillars because these are the 4 things that if we are not pretty solid on these, we get easily knocked by things in life. We're going to get easily thrown and knocked back and rattled, so that we get thrown off course or distracted for months on end, or taken out for a few weeks, which takes us out for months always anyway. And those 4 things are your identity, the quality of your health, important one, your money, your connection, your relationship to money, your money mindset. That's a big one. And your communication skills, especially when it comes to your personal relationships. Now, these are also the 4 major things that you cannot get with instant gratification, that you cannot get by clicking or swiping or purchasing from an ad. You cannot get these things quickly. These things, because when you have them, when you've created them, when you've cultivated that within yourself, because it's the most incredible thing, it's the most energizing, it's the most attractive thing. It's of course the thing that you cannot get quickly. You have to take consistent action, you have to do the work, you have to lean into that discomfort of becoming and creating that. Now, the beauty of that is that it's easy at the end of the day, because it's a decision. It's a decision to do a little bit more every day. It's a decision to join challenges like this, to implement what you learn, whether it's from courses or from people you watch online or from coaches that you hire or whatever the case may be. To learn and then to implement, to learn and then to implement, to learn and then to implement. This is so important, guys, and I need you to hear this, because so many people are just learning and 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 learning, but they're never implementing. So you're going from course to course to course to challenge to course to course to challenge to course to course to YouTube video to inspirational speech, but you're never actually implementing. So what this is called is mental masturbation. One of my mentors calls it, because you're just mentally stimulating yourself and you're making yourself feel really good. And I know this and I know this and I have this thing now and I know this thing and I know this and I know this about the world and I know this, and it feels really good because it's stimulating your neurotransmitters and it's making you feel like you have an awareness, and you do. But until you start to actually implement what you're learning, you won't actually experience the outcomes in your own physical reality. So you can learn about how to make yourself healthier, but if you're not doing it, you're not going to get healthier, right? You can learn about how fruits and vegetables are good for you, but if you're not actually eating more of them, you're not going to feel the physical benefits and create that solid foundation in your health and your immune system. You know, you can learn about how to communicate in relationships, but if you don't actually communicate with your partner or in any of your relationships, because it's scary, you have to lean into that discomfort, then you're not going to build solid foundations in your relationships. Does that make sense, guys? Like, if you're not taking action to decide and design who you are, your identity, who you want to show up as in the world, your behaviors, your personality, and what you want to emanate out and ripple through the world, if you can learn about all the ways to do that, but if you're not actually doing it, if you're not implementing the skills, you're not creating that. You're just getting the quick hit of the learning. You're not getting the physical manifestation experience of the implementing. So, there's not a specific guidance in day 7, more so because I'm not a 7-day quick hit kind of gal. Sometimes these challenges people love, and that's why I do them. And I also wanted us to have a little 7 days after Valentine's Day for anyone who might need it, because Love Day is about self-love at the end of the day, because self-love is what creates the love around you. And I don't want anyone to have an experience where you go to an event, or you do a course, or you watch something online and you get the learning, but you don't get the challenge to implement. And you don't get that aftercare of like, hey, did you do anything with it? Did you actually do anything with it? Or did you just enjoy the quick hit of the information? The quick hit of like some chick on a video being like, this is really awesome, yeah, it's gonna be so good. And then you're like, yeah, it's gonna be so good. And then a week or two later, you're like still in the same fucking space. And that's not what I want for you guys. It is the most incredible fucking high, and I'm not gonna apologize for the language because I love the word. If you get offended by words, that's an interesting growth opportunity for you. It is the most incredible fucking high when you start to create that new version of yourself, and then you start to see the world around you change. When you start to witness that you can manipulate and change energy, that you can actually change your physical reality and the things that you allow and the things that you draw in and the things that you step away from, by simply working on your shit. Creating your identity. The identity that you want to show up as in the world because it's what you would like to experience back from the world. Who is that? Working on your health. Because if you get a cold or flu and you get taken out for 2 weeks and you're not going to do the work on yourself and you're not going to keep showing up, and then maybe you get taken out for another few months because you ended up eating crappy food because you were tired, and then you ate crappy food a little bit more, and then you were feeling like crap, so you're like, oh, it's Friday, I'm just going to go out drinking, and then you literally are 6 months down the line and you actually have tapped out. Take care of your health. What can you start to do daily? Get rid of the toxicity and replace it with a new addiction. Movement, mindset practice, eating well, lots more water. It's quite simple. Your money mindset. What's your relationship like with money? Does it flow to you effortlessly in streams of abundance? Because if it doesn't, it's gonna take you out. We all know that feeling when you get a bill, when you get a expense that you weren't expecting, and you weren't prepared for it, and it stresses you out, and you're suddenly now focused on the lack of money, and now you're beating yourself up because now you can't go and buy that thing you really liked and you wanted because you now have to pay for a bill, and there's that constant drama cycle in your head of like, why me, why can't I make enough, why can't I get ahead? All of that is pulling you back. And if knowledge is power, imagine if you have the wrong knowledge about any of it, but especially about money. Because the awareness and the knowledge is out there, the way to actually build your money mindset, to flip it, to change it, so that you, because money is energy, are either blocking or attracting the flow of money. You are. You are the only variable. You. And that is not necessarily all on you because you're, just a person who hasn't learned stuff. No. We've been set up for failure by a system, by beliefs that have been passed on to us and behaviors that we've learned. But the cool thing is you can unlearn and you can start again. You can decide to learn new things. You can decide to implement new behaviors and new strategies and new things in your life. Because when you don't stress about money, when you don't focus on any lack, you start to experience abundance. And money, alongside being energy, is a tool to expand on more of who you are. And wouldn't it be great if the people who were working on themselves, if the people who had great intentions for this world, for their lives, made lots of money too? Imagine the impact and the contribution to the planet. And the last is communication. Working on how you communicate with yourself and how you communicate with others. Because the more we can all communicate and really connect, and connection at the end is the key to everything. Connection with yourself, connection with each other, and connection with the world. Both natural and not is the key. But if you cannot communicate with yourself, with your own guidance, which you are all getting, but maybe you're blocking it with all of the layers of crap that aren't serving, learning to communicate. When you can lay that foundation, when you can start at home before you worry about all the problems of the world or in your life, you start at home and you build that solid foundation, that is self-love. That is showing yourself how much you care about you, and it shows everyone around you how much you care about you and how much you expect them to care about you. It also inspires them to figure out their identity and become a better person, to work on their health, to work on their relationships, and to work on their money. Imagine if you and your friends and your family weren't stressed about money, and you could communicate about all the things in your relationships, and you all knew what you wanted and knew what you were working towards, and you could have exciting growth conversations with each other rather than just bitching and moaning about Sally down the street. See the contrast? So what I'm going to leave you with on day 7 is a little gratitude for being in this space and actually tuning into the learning, because the learning is what starts the thing. But what really creates the change in your life experience will be the implementation. And continuing to learn and continuing to implement. Learn, implement, learn, implement. Don't just learn, boost. Oh, I feel good for a second, but nothing in my life actually changes. Learn and implement. Learn and implement. Start looking at it that way. So whatever you have learned in this space, what are you going to implement? And when are you going to do it? And if you're not, that's fine. But the question is, in a year's time, in 10 years' time, do you want your life to look exactly the same as it does right now and feel the same as it does right now? Because if you don't, you have to change things now. Right now. So if you're watching this and you haven't watched day 1 through 6 yet, you can backtrack through the newsfeed and watch those. I would love to see you guys sharing pictures, shares in this space when you do implement, to get that accountability, to get that congratulations from me and from everyone else, because that accountability really does help, because sometimes it's not easy, guys. But at the same time, maybe it can be easy. As easy as a decision to just fucking do something. To participate in your own rescue, because guys, no one else is coming to rescue you. No one else is coming to find the solution to your problem. Because solutions to problems are found from the one who is in the pain, from the one who has the problem. That is your superpower. Your problems, like, our biggest problem as humans is that we think we're not supposed to have any. Your problem is actually your superpower. Your problem is actually the biggest gift you've been given, because your problem is your drive to find a solution. And that solution might be from someone else who had the same problem. That solution might be something totally new that ends up helping so many other people. So stop seeing your problems as a problem, or that you're not supposed to have problems. We are supposed to have problems. They're literally how we grow, and that's what we came here to do, to grow into better versions of ourselves. I'm so excited for this week's masterclass inside the Lovely Radical Academy, because I'm going to be expanding on a massive insight of this exact thing, and how we can really transform what we see as problems or traumas or past conditioning that is bad, and actually transform it into our drive and our superpower, and the way that we actually completely change our life experience into something totally new and totally incredible. So if you guys aren't already in the membership, that's fine. The space is also great. But if you would like to work closer with me, whether it's in a group format or one-to-one, there's a few opportunities there to experience that. And yeah, jump over and have a look. Send me a message if you would like the information on that. And I recommend doing that soon, at least, just to get the information, because as of 2 weeks from now, I will be diving into my next level of up level, and prices will be increasing. So if you want to get me now, then jump over and have a look or ask questions. That is the key. Like I said, connection is the key. And if you don't ask, you don't know. So I hope this has been helpful. I hope you guys get your ducks in a row. I hope you guys actually learn and implement what you are learning and change your lives for the better. Because it is a disservice to everyone else around you if you don't. So please. Please do it. If you're not going to do it for you, do it for those around you. Which is kind of cool because it works for both. I'm going to love you and leave you. I'm going to take Sunday off. I hope you've enjoyed this, and I will see you guys next time.